Hey, welcome to Talk It Over. I'm so thankful that you're joining me now so that we can have a conversation called For You that's extended from our weekend messages. As you do this with us, it's either a self-guided spiritual growth tool, or it's one that you can use in a group context by pausing the video whenever we ask a question or ask you to read a scripture. Spend some time writing down the answers or sharing them with one another, and then resume the video so that we can walk through this journey together. I'm excited. Let's get into it. Now, the thing that I want to talk about today is that everyone wants to live a great story. No, nobody wants to live a boring or terrible story. My question, just to warm you up, is this. What is one of your favorite fictional stories or movies? And write that down, but then I want you to try to answer the harder question, just gently. Why? Why is that one of your favorite stories? I'll bet you'd be surprised to hear even why you love the story so much. Okay, now this For You conversation is about the crucifixion of Jesus. It happens right after Jesus has dinner with his disciples, and then he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane. He gets arrested by a betrayal of Judas, and then he ends up being denied by all the disciples. He's put on trial, and then he is beaten, he's spit on, he's flogged, he's slapped, flogged within an inch of his life, and then stripped naked. And then we enter into this scripture, and you can spend time reading ahead, going back and reading these scriptures. It's powerful stuff. But today we're going to start with John chapter 19, verse 16 through 22. Read that and take notes. Okay, what I pulled out of this, what is the thing that we can take away? Is this, that every person has a chance to publicly speak what they know to be true about Jesus, not just Pontius Pilate, but we do too. We all place signs over the cross. What is the sign that we place there? Now, I want you to start to think about your own life, and the question I have for you to answer is this. What labels have people placed over your life, and have they been correct, or have they been way off? This is a vulnerable moment, so share what your story has been. I'll bet you'd be surprised that your story is pretty amazing. Okay, now I want you to read John chapter 19, verse 23 through 24. Okay, now the thing that I pulled out of this is that the script for Jesus' life and victory over death, we must say, had been written since the beginning of time. And why? Because he's referring to Psalm 22. By the way, if you're studying and spending some time reading scripture now, this is a great time to go back to Psalm 22, read the whole thing, and recognize that it's not a sad psalm, it's not a miserable one, it's not a defeated psalm, it's actually one of victory and triumph. Okay, then after you do that, I want you to answer this question. What are the signposts of hope, just like that Psalm 22, that were written into your darkest moments? Yeah, think about through your life. What were the darkest moments? Can you think of any signposts of hope that kept you going? That kept you motivated, helped you see that there was a moment that God would bring fulfillment. Okay, now I want you to read John chapter 19, verse 25 through 27. Now, the takeaway is this, that Jesus always cares for us and calls us to care for one another. This is amazing that Jesus is on the cross, and then in that moment, he's thinking about how he can bring healing into his mother's life and into this disciple named the one who Jesus loved. Amazing. Now, my question for you is, have you ever welcomed somebody into your home? And how do you think this fits with Jesus' vision for our lives? Now, maybe you haven't welcomed someone into your home, but maybe your parents did or your grandparents. Talk about that experience. Maybe it was a bad one, and try to be honest about what that experience was and how sometimes it can get really complicated and really messy. Now I want you to read John chapter 19, verse 28 through 30. Okay, this is our last point for the day. Jesus has completed your story. Now my question for you is, how might you operate different if you know that your story is already complete? A lot of us are trying to make our story better and better or try to have a complete story, but maybe you'd do things different in your life if you knew that your story is already complete. So this is a great conversation called For You. Thank you for spending time with me right now. Hey, if you have any questions or need anything at all, let me know. I'd love to help you. I'll walk through scripture with you if you want to. If you want to learn more, that's what this is about, so that we can grow and we can flourish. All right, God bless and see you next time. Take care.